Welcome to today's video. We are going to be working on a very quick and fun project called the Little Owl Appliqué. And it works great for decorating things like headbands, hats, baby clothes, really anything that's small. You could make barrettes out of this. You could attach this to bows and be a very cute little accent. I'm going to let you know that we are working today with I Love This Cotton. I'm going to be using both Rosie 2 and Banana for my owl. I'm also going to be using I Love This Yarn in a sport weight. This I'm going to be using for the eyes, and this is just straight white. You can also use just a regular worsted weight for the eyes if you want to. I'm going to be starting with the center as yellow, where this little light blue accent is. I'm going to be using yellow. And the pattern calls for working with both a G hook and an F hook. I have a very well used, you almost can't see it, G 4.5 millimeter that I'm going to be working with, as well as an F 3.75 millimeter hook. And then you'll also need to have pair of scissors for cutting off and a large eye needle for assembly. I'm going to start with a magic ring. If you've never done a magic ring before, I wrap it around my fingers and then I cross over once. I go under the bottom, cross over, and pull through. This is where I start my circle, and then I just kind of grab everything in my hand. And this pattern calls for a chain 2, which we're going to be working a half double crochets, 12 of them inside this magic ring circle. I'm not going to count that chain 2 as a half double crochet. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now before I close this off completely, I'm going to switch colors over to my body color. My body color is going to be the rose. And I'm going to change colors by leaving the 3 from the half double crochet on there and pulling my next color up. I'm going to skip over that chain 2 and I'm going to slip stitch into my first half double crochet. The reason I changed my colors when I did is because if you don't change your colors before you close off that stitch, you will actually end up with a color bump in there that will be very noticeable. Now I'm going to cut my center color off and move that out of my way. I'm also going to quick put a very small knot in there just to secure things for right now. Sometimes things can want to come unraveled if you don't. Once again, let's start with a chain 2 on this round. As much as possible, I'm going to try and capture this in my work as I'm going around. This is not going to count as my half double crochet, so I'm going to, in that first stitch where we did our join, I am going to put in 2 half double crochets. So that's my first 2. And now I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in each of the half double crochets going around. So I will end up with a total of 24. All right, I have completed round 2, and since I am not going to be changing my color or anything like that, I'm going to actually start working on the head part. I'm going to go ahead and skip over that chain 2 where I started my row and slip stitch into that first half double crochet and close off my circle. This is where we started right here. Had we joined the banana and then switched our color, this little spot right here would have stuck out and you would have seen the transition between the two colors. Switching over before you actually close that off actually helps you hide that. All right, so now we are going to do and start off with another chain 2. We're going to be working on the ears, which is actually going to function as the head of the owl as well. So we're going to half double crochet into the same space as the join. We're going to double crochet into the next stitch. This is where we're making our ears, so we're going to chain 2, and then I want you to slip stitch into the second chain. This is a really, really teeny tiny picot stitch. Go ahead and double crochet into the same space as the last double crochet. Half double crochet into the next, single into the next, and slip stitch into the next. And basically what we're going to do is mirror that, so we're going to flip that and work the exact same stitch progress on the opposite side. So we're going to start with a single, go to a half double, a double, we're going to do our teeny tiny picot again, so we're going to chain 2, we're going to slip stitch into that second chain, and double crochet into the same space as the last double crochet, half double crochet into the next, and now I want you to chain 2 and slip stitch into the same space as the last half double crochet that you just made. That's it. We're going to go ahead, and I'm actually going to leave this a little bit long so that I've got some space for tacking this onto whatever I want to put it on, or you can just go ahead and tuck it in and make it so that it's like so, and you can use sewing thread or whatever you want later. I am going to clean this up just a little bit, and I'll be right back. All right, I have cleaned up the back side of my work just so that it's not getting in the way of what we're going to be doing moving forward. Now we're going to go ahead and make our eyes. I'm going to be using, once again, the sport weight. You can use a worsted weight if you would like. And I'm going to start this one a little bit differently. I'm also going to be using my F hook on this. The reason why I'm starting this differently and not using a magic ring is because I want to wind up with this little hole here that kind of creates the pupil of my owl without having to do a lot of embroidery. So I'm going to chain 2, and in the second chain from the hook, which is your first chain, I'm going to put a total of 6 stitches in that same space, using that same spot over and over again. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to slip stitch with my first. I'm going to cut off, leaving a nice long end for attaching. Pull everybody through. As long as you kind of caught this up in your work, otherwise tuck it in a little bit. I know that I caught it up in 2 or 3 of my stitches. You know, you'd be hard pressed to rip these little eyeballs apart once they're made. But you want to try and make sure that they're not going to come undone once you have your stuff together. All right, there's one. And I'm going to make a second one. See, these are so fast and easy. So chain 2. And I always go into the back loop. You can go in anywhere you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It just naturally turns a circle. Slip stitch to the first one, clip off, leaving a nice long end, pull through, clip your straggler, and now you can place your second eye, and you get an idea of where you want to actually put them on your owl. Now the way that I attach these is just very, very, very simple sewing, very back and forth, in and out. I have very limited embroidery skills, so I don't make a big to-do out of attaching these guys. But I get the first one on to kind of then set up the second one. I kind of know where I want these guys to land. They have to be close enough so that when I come back through with a little bit of brown in just a moment. Now, nobody's ever going to see the back side of this work. You know, you're going to be attaching this little applique to something, so you don't have to worry about whether or not your white shows. I secure it down like that, just clip it off. And now I'm gonna, all right, so I'm gonna place them right next to, because my eyes are gonna be pretty close on this one. This one I have them a little bit further set apart. Really, each one has its own personality, so wherever you set your eyes, that's where they belong. And I have a tendency to work in between the single crochet posts, or the V at the top, to tack it down. Oops, I got that caught up in one of my things. See, that's why I don't usually like to leave ends like that hanging around, as I don't want that to happen. But sometimes it does. Just make sure that you don't tack it down thoroughly before you fix that. All right. Okay, I feel like my eyes are tacked down pretty well. And I just kind of catch a few on the back, and then I weave. All right, we are almost done. This one got a little bit higher on me than I intended it to be. But now I'm just using, here, I'll show you what I am using. It's Bernat satin, but you can use Caron Simply Soft. You can use any kind of worsted weight you want. This is just a worsted weight brown that I'm using for the beak. My eyes got a little crooked on that, so hopefully my beak helps make it better. So these are my super limited embroidery skills. I'm just entering from the back, and I'm finding where I want the tip of my beak to be, which is going to be there. So all I'm going to do basically is keep doing a straight stitch and coming back to that center point here. So even if I enter to the left of the beak over up here, I come back to the center of the beak down here. That helps you create kind of that triangular shape. I don't usually get super fussy about how neatly I do the embroidery on small things like this that are going to be attached to like a headband or something. There, just kind of adjusted that eye a little bit. It was driving me nuts. All right, so that's my little owl. I'm going to do the same thing with tucking in my ends back here. You know, thankfully, with using this cotton yarn, very little shows up in the front. You're not going to see any of my tucking back here. And I'm going to also just grab the little leftover piece. Sometimes I'm able to sew that in while I'm creating the beak, but it didn't get tucked in this time, which is okay. So there's my little owl. Now I just need to make a headband to attach it to. Like I said, this makes a great adornment for baby hats and dresses, and you can use it for bows and barrettes that you're going to put in the hair. This would be beautiful no matter where you put it. I hope you have fun making it, and make sure that you show me any of the items that you do make from my patterns. Come over to Bizzy Crochet on Facebook and post pictures so that I can see them. Thanks. Thanks for hanging out with me.